What's up, guys, and welcome to the Rebalance podcast, where we dive into topics that matter most when it comes to overcoming struggles, injuries, and finding balance in your life. Everybody's idea of balance is that bit different, so my goal is to give you different perspectives, practical tips, as well as expert insights into what it means to live a balanced life. My name is Robbie Cassidy. I'm a physiotherapist and a health coach, and I've been helping people reignite their love for challenge, overcome their fear, and find more balance in their life through the process of self-development. So, let's get into it. Hello there to everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. On this episode of the podcast, we're going to look at blaming and the blame game and how we can blame different things. And I'm going to use my own examples of an issue that I ran into recently and how we can blame injuries. And as a result, that can stop us from doing some of the things that we want to do or enjoy doing, as well as the cycle and how it develops over time. So before I jump into it though, I want to talk really quickly about the Back Pain Back to Exercise program that's going to be starting on the 22nd of January. It's a group style program where we are going to gather, well, we have a group of people who are dealing with back pain at the moment. Now that can be back pain, just let's say non-specific back pain. It can be sciatica, it can be from bulging discs, or it can be posture related pain, discogenic pain, scoliosis. We've lots of different people in there with lots of different backgrounds, and really the goal of the program is to help people understand what's contributing to the pain, what's causing it, as well as how to fix it. And all the while we're looking to build up a good and consistent exercise routine so that everyone can get back into exercise and get rid of it and overcome it for the long term. Because when you're looking at an issue, especially a chronic issue, you really have to learn about why it's happening before you can fix it. Otherwise, you're just going to get another group of exercises, told to do them, and work away. And you'll find that in time, it's going to come back and it's going to become a problem. So by teaching you the reason that it's happening, the root cause, as well as how to fix it and how to fix that burn spot on the nervous system, we can slowly but surely regain the confidence in our body, build a healthy and active lifestyle, and start to regain all the confidence that we once had, and the playfulness and the enjoyment and the fun and all of the aspects that we used to have in life, and we can start getting back into that again. Because when you're dealing with an issue like this for a long time, you may not even realize it, but it does really take from your mood, and it does take from your quality of life as well. So the goal is to try get that quality of life back just through building up a consistent exercise routine, understanding it, and at the same time doing it in a fun way with the group. So we're going to be doing that. It's kicking off on the 22nd of January. We have people already involved in it who have already started the course. The reason I wanted to put this out there is because the early bird is still open until Monday. So jump on board while it's still there and while the option is still there. It's €100 off for those who get on early. And then obviously we kick off on the 22nd of January, but you have access to all the materials before that. Now, to jump into the podcast, and we're going to look at stop blaming your injuries. Now, the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because recently I was with a group of friends. I'm in Brazil at the moment, for those of you who don't know, but I was with a group of friends and we went to a salsa bar, a salsa dancing bar. It was actually pagode, if anyone knows what that is, but it's kind of like salsa. Now, anyone who does know what it is probably saying, no, it's not, but it's close enough. It's close enough to salsa. And when we were there, a friend of mine called me up and he said, let's try it out. A Brazilian guy, he said, I want you just to show you what to do. So I tried it for a second. I couldn't really get the step. I was a small bit off, and it seemed like everyone around there was like a professional dancer. Everyone was so good at it, and they'd already really developed the skill. So I felt like a white belt, for lack of a better description. White belt is in jiu-jitsu. When you get into it for the first time, they give you your white belt, and then you have to kind of climb the ranks of blue and purple, brown and black. But I felt like a real beginner and a real novice, and as a result I ended up kind of blaming my knee, because I have a knee injury that I picked up from jiu-jitsu, obviously, but I picked it up a while ago. So I started blaming my knee. I said, no, I can't do it right now because of my knee. So I went back down, I sat down, and obviously, what are they going to say? They're not going to say, well, push on to your knee, because they don't know the injury that I was dealing with at the time, and they just guessed, well, if he's not able to do it right now, I guess he's not able to do it. But the thing is that deep inside, I knew the reason that I didn't want to do it. The ego had taken over for me, and I felt like I wasn't capable of doing it right there, especially with everyone else around. So I took a step back and I sat down and I said, I'll go back at it another time. And I found it very easy to just blame the knee and get out of it. While I knew, though, that was a weak excuse. Do you know, I knew it in the back of my mind that was a weak excuse. And for somebody who is always talking about making sure that you don't blame any issues, that you have control of your body, that you're looking to improve your quality of life, that you're always trying out different experiences and you don't want to be held back by your body. When I came home, I had to really laugh at myself because I was like, you just blamed an injury for not doing something because it was affecting your, I guess, ego in a way, because I felt like I wasn't up to the standard that the rest of them were. So I felt like it was more comfortable, that's probably a better way to describe it, for me to sit down. And so came back, awkwardly sat down and kind of watched them and like kind of was chatting to them or whatever as it was going on. But it was definitely something that I was like on the way back, and especially when I got home, I had to laugh at myself over it. And I came to the realization that I need to stop this pattern, because if I start to use this pattern consistently, I've seen this develop in people so often where they use this pattern where they blame an injury or they blame an issue for not doing something, and then after a while it becomes a subconscious thing. They don't even realize why they're not doing it anymore, and they're just always blaming the same thing. And in a lot of cases, you see it with back injuries, where someone has had a back injury and now they start blaming their back for everything. So now they can't run because of their back, they can't lift weights because of their back, they can't play with their kids because of their back, they can't jump on a trampoline, or they can't go for hikes because of it in case it flares up and they need to protect it. And slowly but surely their life starts to become very restricted in what they can do, because they've put so many limitations on themselves and they've blamed it for so long. Now the thing is, when it happens, when you have these sayings that you continually fall back on, and when you have these beliefs, they start to become ingrained, and you start to adapt your lifestyle around it. And if you don't pick up on that pattern, if you're not aware of it, it does close off what you can do over time, and your body will react. Because if you've heard me talking on other podcasts, you'll often hear me talk about how the body gets really protective. And that's a simple way that it gets protective, is it'll give you a lot of pain, especially when you have the belief that you shouldn't be doing it in the first place because it's going to cause more pain. Your body will give you pain earlier on because there's a heightened sensitivity. Okay, and this is when I talk about the root cause, when I talk about the course and how we're going to really dive into understanding it. I'm only scratching the surface here with how the levels to this and how this can happen and how this can really become part of our subconscious, and it can become part of our identity. If we don't take care of these issues, we will slowly but surely identify with them, and then you'll identify as somebody who has a bad shoulder, a bad knee, or a bad back, or a bad side. And when you have that identity, you're not as likely to push into it, and the body is much more likely to become very protective of it early on. So there's a huge element in the Back Pain Back to Exercise course where we talk about language, and we look at language, and we look at how it has an effect on us and how it's affecting our life. But as I say, it's so important to lean into that, because if you don't lean into that, you can do all the exercises in the world and you can build that bit of strength, but you're not taking care of the negative feedback patterns that are contributing to the issue sticking around for way longer than it should. So as I said, I had to make a point the next time I was going out of fixing it. And as I say, I was talking about this in an email recently, in that you'd be surprised how quick the next opportunity came up for me to go out and do it. It's like somebody had sent it to me and they had laughed at me, whoever was looking down at me, saying, because the position that they put me in the next time, I had already agreed that the next time I was going to do it no matter what. It turned out we went to another kind of salsa bar, and I was basically on stage with friends salsaing after that. So before it was kind of like a corner, and I wasn't who was going to see me, but in this place it was center stage, and I had to laugh about it and just go out and make a fool out of myself and do it. And it was enjoyable. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the aspect of it. It was like the fact that it was like, okay, well, you didn't do it in the quiet, so now you have to do it in the open. And obviously when I went through it, there was no issue with my knee at all. I was completely fine. I had been walking before and everything like that, so I had all, let's say you could say, warmed up. Not that it's a very explosive activity or anything, but there was no issue with the knee. And I was out in the open doing it. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anyone. But the point of it is that I had to recognize the pattern first before I could fix it. And once I had recognized it, it was very easy to put it in place and see the ego crop up. The next time it happened, I was there and thinking, oh, I don't want to do it. But then I knew in my head that was the ego taking over. And I had already made a plan in the background about what to do when that happened. So when it did arise, I just started, okay, right, let's just go for a minute and see how we get on. Go for 2 minutes and see how we get on. Practice the first 3 to 4 steps and see how we go. And just slowly but surely built it up through that. So yeah, it was something that I thought it may apply to other people here who are listening to this, who may be blaming their body for different issues. But it's important that you do become aware of this first, and that you recognize that this is a pattern that may be developing or may have developed. It could be well and strong at this stage, but you just need to work on it and work on improving it. And the thing is, if you have done this in the past, where you've stopped and you said, I can't do it because of my back or my shoulder, my knee, whatever reason you used, is it something that has stuck around? Are you still doing it? Is it something that needs to change? Subconsciously, what will happen is that if you don't recognize the pattern, you will opt out of these things to stay in the comfort zone just for one day more. That's the thing. It's always like, just this time I'll do it. And then you look back and it's been 3 to 4 months or longer, a year or 2 years before you've started exercising again, before you've started to get back into the swing of things, before you've started to really enjoy yourself and lift your mood or test your body out. Because subconsciously, as we tell ourselves these things all the time, they do become ingrained and they do become stronger beliefs. So this is really a podcast to point out that this can happen. It can happen over time. It can happen. It's very simple how it happens, but to fix it is you just need consistency, a bit of guidance, and you need to kind of restructure the way you're thinking about it. But until we actually recognize it, we're going to continue reliving it. We're going to continue giving it control. We're going to continue blaming our back and our body for the reason that we can't do things. Instead of blaming it, you need to look at how you can fix it. You need to look at how you can work on it. And that's as simple as it is. It's okay if you've done it in the past. There is no problem there. Everyone does it at certain times for certain things. But there has to come a point where you make the decision that you want to change it, that you want to fix it. And when it does come to that point and you do start leaning into it, you will have obstacles come up against you, and you have to understand that there's a subconscious element that will be fighting against you to keep you in that comfort zone, whether you like it or not. But the enjoyment you get out of overcoming it is very hard to match. But that's all I'm going to talk about today. It's something that I felt that it would resonate with people. I think that it's important to know that everybody goes through it. It's just about when you can stop it and how you can fix it. And if you fall down and it flares up, there's nothing wrong with that. You can start again and you can rebuild again. It really comes back to that. It comes back to the consistency and the discipline and making sure that you're going down the right path when you are looking at an issue like this. Otherwise, if anyone is interested, definitely jump on the Back Pain Back to Exercise program. As I said, the early bird is still available now until Monday the 15th. It's €100 off. It's $197 at the moment. It's going to be going up to $297 on Monday. So get involved. Get started on it. Go through the course details so you have a good idea of the education. I'm going to leave a link in the bio here so you can click on that and you can just sign up straight away. If you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram. But if you get into this, you're going to find it's going to have a huge impact on your life. It's a long-lasting change. It's going to the goal is to really change that identity while we're building this active lifestyle. And the people who've gone through the course in the past have had excellent results getting back to running 5Ks, to running park runs, to getting into marathons, to really rebuilding their life and rebuilding the confidence that they have in their body. So if that sounds like you, if that's something that you'd be interested in, check it out. I'm going to put a link in the bio or the description of this podcast. And yeah, that's all for now. I will chat to you all again next week. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Okay guys, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're looking to learn more about what we do, as well as check out any of the mobility and rehab programs we have available, just head over to the description of this podcast and you will find a link to all the programs there. As always, thank you for listening, and I will chat to you all again in the next episode. Have a good one.